Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a quick video talking about how to get your sensitivity from Apex Legends to AimLab on both mouse and controller. Then once we discuss the conversion, we're going to discuss every single setting on AimLab and what it does. I'll timestamp each portion so it's specific to you. So first off, mouse and keyboard. This one's actually the easiest and we'll discuss it quickly. So you discover your Apex Legends sensitivity under the main menu. You hit escape, settings, then go under mouse and keyboard. If you adjusted your sensitivity from the config file like in my prior video, be sure to follow those steps to grab all those extra digits for your sensitivity. Now you have your sensitivity that you will utilize. Now let's head over to AimLab. On AimLab, you'll need to go into settings, then control. Under game settings, you'll see the various game profiles. Under the game profile, select Apex Legends. Now enter your sensitivity. Now the best part is that if you select a different profile, this converts your sensitivity to different games. Say for example Fortnite, Battlefield, and so forth. So let's discuss the advanced features of your sensitivity settings. I'm going to segue and discuss that in real time. Alright, in this portion we're going to discuss in real time as if you were sitting next to me, breaking down the advanced features of the sensitivity settings. You can do the same thing for FOV, but notice once you switch from simple to advanced that there's a lot more here available for you. The biggest thing if you're on mouse and keyboard that you want to change your DPI. In this example, I switched it from the normal 800 that I use and I switched it over to 1800 just to provide a different value. So if I scroll up, this is important that you produce the right value so it converts over to the correct 360 distance. So if you hover over this, it says the 360 distance is the input device for the abbreviated centimeters per 360 or inches per 360 for you to do a full 360 turn in game. In this case would be in AimLab. So that's very, very important to put down. Now, once you have that in there, you can change this. Let's say you wanted to have, let's say 26 centimeters per 360. If you want to change this, you scroll down, you can change this to inches. Let's say we want to do inches per 360. Let's say you want to do only 12 inches per 360. Well, your sensitivity at 1800 dpi is going to be 0.75758. Let's say I did 800 dpi, right? I know a sensitivity I use is 15.5 inches per 360. So hit enter, and this is going to go 1.31965, which is obviously 1.32. Give or take, because of the decimal points. Obviously it's going to be very specific and very exact. So that's how you would convert it. You can do the same thing for your ADS sensitivity distance, and this is great to get a conversion of what this looks like. You can switch it to the 10x, the 6x to see what the inches per 360 would look like on that sensitivity setting. So again, if you change this to 1800 dpi, I would get the distance that I want. I'll copy and paste my prior value, which is 13.45 inches per 360, and I can change this. And of course you can change your FOV to match it in game as you would. I know we discussed that just a moment ago, but you'll be able to see how many centimeters and how many inches per 360 that you need to complete. And this kind of gives you that overall strong basis that'll help you. Obviously you kind of need to mess with these a bit more. I'm kind of doing this in real time, and I'm not very smart when I'm converting right away, so I apologize for that. That's big not smart on Dad's part. But let's segue to the next part of the video. Now let us discuss the controller settings. I even put a webcam on the controllers just to see it in real time when playing on AimLab, because I honestly haven't really played on controllers since Gears or the Halo days. In this part of the video, what I want to discuss specifically, and you have it on screen, is the controller input. This is a little bit more basic than you would realize and how you want to change your settings specifically. I would recommend putting this on simple for sensitivity, and then when you scroll up, this converts just as it would in-game on Apex Legends. So if at Apex Legends you use a 4 sensitivity, you would enter 4, you would hit back, hit resume, and then it would adjust from there. So let's mess with the setting a bit more just to get it a bit more exact, because I don't think I hit save, and that was partly my problem there. So let's hit enter. Now ignore the 360 distance in this exercise. If you have it on advanced, if you have it on simple, then hit save. Don't forget to hit save or else it won't go through. So I have a sensitivity at 4, and this is going to match in game, and I happen to have an Xbox controller here, so I'm going to put Xbox 20%. You have the option to put PlayStation because it definitely has a different feeling. You can put a different curve if you have linear dynamic. I have it on standard because in game I have it on classic whenever I was in game. You can do raw input, or Windows always do raw inputs. I'm gonna hit save. And now I'm gonna control the controller and game. So obviously this is a little slower. It's okay. You know, you had to just kind of adjust this and learn. That's part of the process of learning. I have a lot to improve on with using controller, obviously. And there you go. As you can see on screen, me moving the controller. This is kind of just an exercise to get you kind of warmed up and really understand your sensitivity. Remember, there's going to be aim assist in the game, and sometimes targets are going to move a little bit faster than you actually anticipate. So if I were to go in game, and let's switch to a different scenario, one that might be a little bit more helpful, and you look for something maybe specific to tracking. Let's do perhaps the strafe bot. Next, I have my hand in a little bit of a weird angle, so I apologize. So you can do the right trigger, as you can see, and work on your sensitivity and hitting the target. I'm really not good with a controller, as you can tell, but this is why you would have AimLab to work on it. And this will kind of really give you a gauge when a target's in front of you, what you need to adjust and maybe change, if you need to be faster or slower. But it's really good tips. I spent a lot of time on Halo and Gears of War days. I plugged this in for the first time. I think I only did one video in the past year with a controller, but I thought this might be helpful for those that are trying to improve, especially me, on controller. So let's segue discussing every single setting on AimLab. Now in this portion of the video, I want to discuss every single setting on AimLab, just to kind of help you out. So audio, what I have done is I really turned down the audio because I noticed a lot of the hit noises are quite loud. I turned down the music. That's a personal preference. I like to vibe to my own music in the background, but I have my master volume and weapon volume quite low, and I have my hit volume quite high. You can always adjust this, so whenever you hear those gunshot noises and everything, you can adjust them specifically what you want, and if you'd like, you can import your own specific sound. You know, you have the various metal sounds that whenever you shoot something, if you prefer that, or if maybe there's something in a different platform that you may prefer, you can use that as well. Now for graphic settings, I recommend that you match it with your display resolution. I do full screen exclusive, just because that'll net you the best latency. And I happen to use 16:10 resolution in Apex Legends, so I match that also in AimLab. That's a personal preference thing. I would recommend low latency, especially whenever you're practicing. You should get decent frame rate when you're on here. Maybe if you're on a lower budget laptop, if you're practicing a controller, maybe you want to just put this on balance or performance. You can limit your frame rate if you like. You don't have to limit the frame rate, but that's an option there for you. Match your monitor refresh rate can definitely be helpful. Perhaps in game, maybe you get lower FPS, so you want to match it so you can better practice in real time. I recommend putting this on fastest, turning off processing, muzzle flash, shell casing, bullet impact, player damage FX, and target destruction FX. This is where you see the little circles, the blue balls from AimLab really blow up. You can turn that off so it looks a lot more cleaner, so you're focusing more on your aim rather than on the pretty graphics on screen. I know we already went through the sensitivity settings, but just a reminder, they are here. And again, if you have a question about any sensitivity settings, specifically regarding AimLab, just go a little bit further in the video on the timestamp and we'll cover this. This is a question I get quite a bit, is the crosshair. You can change your crosshair extensively, and you can even upload a profile if you'd like. I recommend creating one just from scratch, kind of play with this. You can obviously increase its length, you can make it smaller, make it larger, you can change its thickness, kind of go for something a little subtle. You can increase the center gap if you want it to look maybe something like Apex, if you're hitting your wingman shots, what that would look like on screen. You can see that here. I happen to like it being pretty close. You could change the dot size. If you just want a giant dot, let's say you don't even want the crosshair, but you just want a dot instead, you can change that up if you like as well. You can even change the circle radius if you like. That's always an option. You can put it around. This kind of would go more for the wingman as well, maybe like a hollow sight, something along those lines, but that is there as an option for you. And you can also do the outline opacity to make it more see-through, kind of give it more of a defining edge to it. Maybe you're playing a game like Halo. I know this has that very specific. Anything along those lines that can help you out, you can definitely change it. You can also change your crosshair color. You can default it to black. You can change it to green, turn it to blue. And you can change the opacity as well to make it more see-through, if that's an option. You can also mix and match these colors. The color settings follow the RGB color scope. So if there's something specifically a color that you prefer, you can change these number values specifically. I happen to like red. I also don't mind yellow. I really like yellow as well. So if I want to get that, lower that, and then I got a yellow crosshair. I happen to make my circles yellow specifically just because I visually can see it better. But red and green are kind of the go-to when it comes to end game. Don't forget to hit save whenever you make changes. If you do, hit save and then you're good to go. Now in game, there's also questions about how you hide your weapon and change the colors of the hit markers. You can change the language, you can give the heads up display, you can change the countdown timer. Most people are unaware of that. How long the countdown timer is at the start. You can change the avatar, player appearance, target color. So as I mentioned, you can do a custom one. You can change the target color to a specific custom one. I happen to like yellow. You can do pink, you can do teal, you can change it up. As you can tell, move it around. Figure out what's comfortable for you, what you really prefer, what you really like. I like yellow. You can change the target hit color to blue, and whenever you miss, you can turn it to red. You can change these up depending on what works for you. It's all personal preference. You can change the default to first person or third person. You want it in first person. Unless you're doing Fortnite, then change over to third person for you. You can hide your gun model. I recommend doing this so you're used to just seeing the crosshair on screen. You can also remove the weapon recoil, the weapon sway, and then when you're done, hit save. Now for the keybinds, the only one I really recommend changing is the restart button specifically. So whenever you are in a scenario and you want to reset it, you just click a button and it just resets for you. You don't have to wait, you don't have to hit escape and hit restart. Just whatever you prefer that button to be, that's another personal preference thing. You can change some of these other things, perhaps zoom ADS. I changed it to Z because I didn't want it on my mouse. Sometimes I like to practice holding right mouse click whenever I'm holding. That's also a personal preference thing, but all these are personal preference. You can change this on the mouse, you can change this, you can change your controller stuff, you can change what left trigger, right trigger does, and it's pretty straightforward on the controller as well, but know that this is here, and you can do most of the stuff on the controller, and you can even restart as well from the controller specifically if you like. You don't have to, but that option is available there for you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time.